Hey everybody, you're gonna love this. This is a crazy story that I found that I just had to share with you. In the world of medical epidemiology, there are rules. And the rules for multiple sclerosis, at least one of them, is pretty simple. The farther you are from the equator, the higher your rate or chance is of multiple sclerosis. But I found cases of MS that don't play by the rules. And on the island of Sardinia, just south of Italy and south of the island of Corsica, things get weird. The island of Sardinia presents one of the highest rates of multiple sclerosis in the world. 447 people per 100,000. Compare that to the global population of just 43 out of 100,000. So with Sardinia in the Mediterranean and decently close to the equator, what is going on? And this got me thinking, I've got to find out. And you're definitely going to want to know, because this story twists and turns like a medical mystery you would never see. You can't make this stuff up. So stay with me. You're going to love this. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and share, and that notification bell if you haven't. Let's go. To understand how bizarre this is, just look right next door. The neighboring island of Corsica, less than 8 miles away, shares the same climate, the same sun, and similar historical roots. Yet its MS prevalence is merely 81 per 100,000. Sardinia has an unexplained fourfold spike in devastating neurological diseases, especially multiple sclerosis. So now we have to ask ourselves, how does a fair weather place like Sardinia, not too far from the equator, become the epicenter for an autoimmune epidemic? I'm calling this episode the Sardinian Paradox because it really is a medical whodunit involving ancient genetic locked rooms, an evolutionary bodyguard that went rogue, and an accomplice hiding in the island's sheep herds. Yeah, this gets weird. It's bad. See what I did there? Sheep, bad. See? Every good detective starts by looking at the victims and their families. Sardinia is what geneticists call a founder population. Around 10,000 years ago, the island's lineage came from continental Europe. And due to its geographic isolation and high rates of intercommunity marrying, the island became a genetic locked room. When investigators mapped the family trees of MS patients, they found something chilling. The kinship connections between MS patients were incredibly distant. We're talking beyond the 4th degree of relation. The susceptibility of multiple sclerosis wasn't just passing from parent to child. It was baked into the very foundation of the island's gene pool. In one of the most striking clues, investigators analyzed the population in a place called Village L. Out of over 2,300 inhabitants, all 11 of the village's MS victims could only be traced back to just 3 ancestral couples. The rest of the village had 0 cases. Now that is very weird. Now the evidence was very clear. The suspect was hiding inside the unique DNA of the islanders. But what wasn't clear is, why was evolution choosing an autoimmune disease like multiple sclerosis to be prevalent? And to find that motive, researchers looked at a far more deadly nemesis. You see, for centuries, Sardinia had suffered from serious outbreaks with malaria. In fact, they had some of the highest rates of death from malaria in the entire Mediterranean. But their immune systems fought back. To survive, their immune systems became hyperactive, so much so it could kill the malaria parasite, which is not an easy thing to do. Now, the prime suspect in our MS mystery becomes a specific type of genetic profile. And I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to call it the BAFF variant. The BAFF variant mutation creates a shortened genetic transcript that magically escapes the body's normal degradation process. The result is a massive unregulated flow of a survival protein called BAFF. And this drives the body's B cells into an armed and dangerous frenzy. And this hyperreactive state saved the Sardinians from malaria. But in 1951, the WHO comes in and says, we think we can take care of malaria, and they start spraying chemicals like DDT. And these efforts wiped out malaria because it wiped out the mosquito population, but that left an armed and very energetic immune system in the islanders. And starting in 1960, just 9 years later after they started wiping out malaria, incidence of MS went absolutely bonkers on the island, like through the roof, off the charts. And this starts to provide a motive behind our medical mystery, and that is an evolutionary mismatch. Now these exact same genes that were built up over centuries to fight off malaria and made these super awesome, crazy, tough immune systems now had nothing to do. And you know what they say about idle hands? They become the devil's henchmen. And now in a modern hygienic environment, the immune system looks inwards for destruction. And these immune systems started all-out war on the central nervous systems of the islanders. And you might be thinking right now, well, they're close to the equator, they have great vitamin D, we know vitamin D helps stave off multiple sclerosis, why isn't that working? Well, there's an alibi. So what about the sun? Science tells us that abundant UV radiation and vitamin D are supposed to protect us against MS by helping the body delete autoreactive immune cells early in life. And Sardinia is drenched in sunlight, so why isn't the sun helping eliminate multiple sclerosis? When forensic geneticists looked closer, they found a devastating twist. The dominant genetic risk alleles in Sardinia contain a mutated vitamin D response element. And this DNA sequence has a critical mismatch. It doesn't like vitamin D. In fact, it ignores it. And that's a problem when you have multiple sclerosis. What happened is the DNA sequence lock changed shape to where the vitamin D key could no longer fit in it. Even though Sardinians are exposed to massive amounts of active vitamin D, their specific MS-causing genes have an extremely low binding affinity for it. These genes completely fail to respond. Someone or something in the environment has to pull the trigger to start the disease. And that's where this story takes a crazy twist. I did not see this coming. And it's bad news. That's a hint. Again. Now enter our accomplices, and one of them is the Epstein-Barr virus, which is found in significantly higher rates in the populations of Sardinia versus the rest of the world. You see, Sardinia has a massive agricultural economy, and up to 60% of the local sheep herds are infected with a bacterium known as MAP. And this is super interesting because when investigators sampled the blood of people on Sardinia with MS, 42% of them had evidence of the MAP bacterium in their blood. And that was compared to 4% of the healthy controls on the island. All right, so there's a lot to unpack here. Let's just quickly go over this. Malaria was rampant. The immune system of the islanders became super tough because of the MAP bacterium from the sheep and the malaria parasite. The World Health Organization comes in, eradicates the malaria, the Epstein-Barr virus shows up somewhere in there, and the immune systems are bored and super strong and start to attack the central nervous system, resulting in the highest rates of multiple sclerosis in the world. This makes the Sardinian Paradox an absolute masterpiece in medical complexity. And while this historical case may be closed, MS continues, so we gotta keep our foot on the gas and keep doing it. Now, you might be asking yourself, as I was, how did the MAP bacterium make its way from the population of sheep into the humans? And there's a lot of ways my brain is like, oh, that's not good. But actually what happened is the MAP bacterium is incredibly tough and it can withstand chlorinated water. So not only is it in the water on Sardinia, but it can also be inhaled through the air in some cases. And it's just a very tough bacteria to get rid of. What happens is it's in the fecal remnants of the sheep. It runs downhill because it's a very mountainous region, gets into the water supply, and then enters the body, triggers an immune system reaction, and bam. So that is the case of Sardinia, the island, and this whole medical mystery I found absolutely fascinating. Think about that, 440 out of 100,000. That is a massive population of people that have the disease on this island that for a long time was kind of cut off from the rest of the world. It really speaks truth to understanding your community. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I thought it was a medical mystery that I just had to talk about. I'm Cliff. This is Life with MS. As always, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Got some really cool stuff coming up. And leave a comment below if you've heard about this before or other places that have high rates of MS. I could look into those too. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.